And welcome back in here. We are still tracking a Fox weather alert. People waking up on the West Coast to a tsunami advisory triggered by this right here that you can see on your screen. A large volcanic eruption near Tonga. This is
have been trying to travel here as the new year has started, have really sort of hit the brakes. So as they've moved into this opportunity of a new year, trying to get out and take to the skies, the airlines really have not allowed for that to happen. We're going to bring JP Dice into the conversation here because winter travel poses its own threat. And yesterday, as I was coming back, my flight was fine. I took the two legs to get back from Maui to New York City, and I was hearing all the travel nightmares around me because so much of the East Coast, these airlines are starting to reroute and change things up because of this winter storm. So let's start there.
Yeah, first off, I think we all need to go back to Maui. That sounds like a wonderful opportunity because of all of this weather that
right
folks are
now,
dealing
right?
with today. Yeah, exactly. And what we're seeing today, some of those major hubs, of course, Atlanta and Charlotte, are just going to be hammered by this winter weather. The fact is, winter weather is a lot more trouble.
You know, I feel like the first 2 weeks of the year have really been just a monster headache for these airlines. How has this winter stacked up against previous years? Is this comparable and I have a short memory?
That's going to be pushing into the south and east. You can see some rain moving back into the forecast for places like Atlanta, also North Carolina and South Carolina, and that rain does extend down into the Gulf Coast. For Thursday, looking pretty good for the West Coast, and as we go into Friday, you'll see a little bit of pink popping up for the Carolinas. Always a big concern, the idea of ice, but please keep in mind this forecast is for Friday. We are going to see some changes. What's happening is we have an area of low pressure that will be in the northern Gulf that's moving into the mid-Atlantic states as we go into the weekend, and that could produce some wintry weather. We just have to look for it as we get closer. So no big red flags just yet. We'll watch it for you and pass along those updates. Moving into the weekend, very quiet weather across the nation. Good news to pass along, but it will be very cold. 24 degrees in Bismarck, 20 degrees in Chicago, and temperatures even chilly all the way down to the Gulf Coast. We're going to have afternoon highs in the 50s as we head into the weekend, which for all of us that live up north, that sounds warm. But let me tell you, if you live along the south, 50s in the afternoon, that's chilly for them. So good news to give them a heads up as we get into the weekend, winter weather for you along the Gulf Coast. Jason?
Britta, I'm laughing because you're...
I want to see her just embrace the challenge and go for the big moves.
Yeah, you know, wait, Sarah, this is so funny because I told my mom I was doing this. I took figure skating lessons as a kid and I loved it. And I was in ballet, so I really did her wrong with all of those lessons, man.
All right, well...
You gotta come back for more.
Yes, we'll definitely do that. Sarah, now listen, nobody wants to watch Marissa and I ice skate. Everybody's here. They want to see what you got. So can you show us how it's really done here to end out the show?
I would be happy to.
All right, here we go.
All right.
So, Marissa, when I was
that's good.
I don't know about you, but when I was on the ice and I was doing my routine, that's how it looked in my head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like when you have too many drinks and in your head you're like, I was totally cool, but actually you were a sloppy mess.
Yep.
Word, my brother. Look, ooh, that's a good
gosh.
move. See, Nick, we're going to try that next time.
That one time, and no joke, I think I'm going to have a little bit of a bruise tomorrow. That ice, newsflash, ice is hard. Also, the sky is blue. Yeah.
You know, it is the older you get, the stiffer you get. But
Oh, yeah.
I always tell my 4-year-old, he's learning how to skate now. I'm like, if I don't see you fall, I know you're not trying. So,
That's
Nick,
right.
I see you are really pushing here and trying your best. And that you won.
Well, if you need to teach any of your kids potty training, yeah, show them my squatty potty technique, and maybe that'll help. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's Fox Weather Wild. Thank you for joining us.
Have a great night.
Next day's eruption triggered tsunami warnings as far away as California.
So a lot of folks are going to be impacted by this winter storm. And we're also tracking all modes of winter weather. So we're talking about rain, ice, and then snow. So it's going to start off as rain, and then it's going to continue to push down to the south. And behind that cold front, we'll have cold Arctic air ushering in, transitioning that over to ice and then eventually to snow. How much snow, you might ask? Well, potentially, especially for locations like Kansas City all the way over into Illinois, Ohio, we could see anywhere from 6 to 12 inches. Make sure to
Shout out to her. If you want to watch it again, check out my socials, and you can watch as many times as you want.
It makes you want to dance. Nick, I gotta say, and I don't say it that often. I mean, all your videos are great, but this one I think is my favorite.
Thank you.
You have the violinist. Real nice,
Appreciate
my friend.
it. Thank you.
It is now time for our next wild thing. He was the first one.
Take it away, wild thing. Let's go.
Today, we cut you down to about 20 degrees today, so the chill for the weekend. So Saturday, look at all the areas in darker blue. You are below the 32-degree mark. The warm air or the 40s still in green. All of this shifting east. Hold on for one more day. Atlanta all the way up to Maine. Nice temperatures are still above average, but that changes for the second half of the weekend. Getting cold air in place just as a storm tries to arrive. So New York, 59 today. This is great. Central Park's going to be packed. Prospect Park's going to be packed. Bryant Park, Washington Square, but tomorrow 35. Everybody will be hiding in their house watching the Super Bowl. Right now, temperatures are 48 for Boston, 54 for New York. That's right now. You can go out without your coat on. D.C. has 49 degrees. Cold air is waiting in the wings, and it moves in for the second half of the weekend. Forecast really could almost be cut in half on the East Coast once we get into tomorrow. So a big chill coming our way. And then by Monday, the coldest of the air, just 20s, and temperatures going below freezing for New York City. So we go from 60 today, John, down to 30. 30 on Monday.
Not looking forward to that,
That's
Amy.
going to be so rude.
Can you change that, please?
We go from 60 today, John, down to 30. 30 on Monday.
Not looking forward to that, Amy.
That's going to be so rude.
Can you change that, please? But what we just went through, because it's been so warm, it's just going to be like, what the heck is going on with all the snow on?
Welcome back to Fox Weather. Roses are red, violets are blue. Let's see what the weather has in store for you. Lovebirds, right? Or instead of lovebirds, how about the Galentine's Day forecast? That's the night before Valentine's Day. So tomorrow, this is great. It's great timing, right? All the gals can go out while all the guys watch the Super Bowl. We can go and have a good time, right? Friend, Oregon, 55. Friendly Hills, California, hot and steamy, 90. Look at this. Friend, Kansas, you've got 56. Friendship, Oklahoma, 63. A little chilly, though, in Friendship, Indiana, where we've got 29. No major storms. Really going to be pretty nice. So cozy up with your friends, cry on their shoulders, whatever you need to do ahead of the big day, which is Valentine's Day. Definitely you need a little, sometimes maybe a little reason to cozy up with your big squeeze. Valentine, you'll be at 49, so not too warm there. Lovington, Illinois at 38. Or maybe create some love bonds, whatever. Of course, big lovers weekend. Have any of you guys been on bad dates?
Yeah. Of
Craig,
course.
spill the beans.
Haven't you? Hasn't everybody been on one?
Never.
Right, but
Never,
I want
really?
details.
Never.
I've only been on one bad date, and it's where we went to dinner, and the person I was with was looking at the server and the whole time, so I got up and walked out, and it was a snowstorm in the middle of Denver, and this was before rideshare, so I couldn't find a cab. So I walked home about a mile in a snowstorm. I walked right out. I'm like, that's rude.
You know what?
you?
My dates have been, I was always pressured to go on a date on Valentine's Day. I think it's, you know, a made-up big holiday, and that's fine, a gimmick. But I remember my calculus teacher in high school freaking out and saying how it's just another day, just really freaking out on the class from calculus. And we were like, wow. So anyway, you know what? It's a day of love, that's all.
I have so many, but I will just say, if you've ever heard of the nightmare dates on apps, I definitely had one. The guy did not look like his picture. Unrecognizable, didn't look like his picture. The worst part is he did business with a company that I was working for. So it was just a nightmare all the way across the board.
Did you stay for the whole date?
No. Well,
did you get up and leave?
No, I stayed for a majority of it. But what I learned about that is if you show up and people are not authentic to what you expected, that's when you should leave.
I agree 100%.
And don't feel bad about walking.
Get out.
I walk right out.
Absolutely 100%.
Speaking of getting out, that's going to do it for this hour of America's Weather Center. We're going to be right here with you on Fox Weather, simulcasting on Fox Business Network. We'll leave you with a picture of the ocean.
Here, and this storm warning is going until 8:15. And again, it should be noted here that it's not like the threat.
Carolina down through Albany as we head through about middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. So for most of us, we're off to sleep. And just in case we do get that warning, make sure we keep that ringer turned on just in case. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts because it just takes that little bit of that environment.
All right, do you have a furry playmate who you just love the bits and pieces?
And this hour, we're taking a look at some of our Fox Weather kitties that we all know and love. And so I just love their poses here, the stare downs that you get with those cats. And so we want you to send us those pictures. Again, it's National Love Your Pet Day. So get on social media, do hashtag Fox Weather. And I believe we have a catnap forecast, Amy, that we can give as well in case you can be camping inside today.
I mean, who can't use a catnap is my question. Look at this. Temperature.
In terms of snow totals last 24 hours, we're also seeing significant snow totals, anywhere from 8.5 inches all the way up to 10 inches for folks that live in Maine. So all across the region, just getting a winter wallop this Friday, and that was to be expected. Obviously, we have still been dealing with the winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings that were issued yesterday and will remain in effect through today. So those winter storm warnings in effect right now, what you see shaded in purple, but just a few areas still under that winter weather advisory, just down to the south as well as to the north and portions of Maine. So we're watching this slowly but surely. Those weather alerts will be able to be trimmed back by the National Weather Service as the storm system continues to slide on out of here and exit stage right. So moderate to heavy snow will still be felt throughout the afternoon and into the early evening hours. So from Bangor, Maine, all the way down to Portland, Burlington, and into Boston. Still dealing with that snow later on this afternoon and evening, and snow still to come. You might be wondering, how much are we going to see? Well, potentially 1 to 3 more inches. However, we could have a snow band set up that would give a few locally higher totals, maybe in that 3 to 4 inch mark. But elsewhere, a dusting to an inch is much what we're going to see all across the afternoon and evening in the Northeast. Kiana.
Well, let's take a look at this video from eastern Tennessee yesterday. More than 7 inches of rain sent rivers and creeks overflowing in those neighborhoods. Flood warnings and watches do remain in effect for all the way up towards Ohio, at least throughout this evening. And it isn't because it's raining anymore. Take a look at the satellite and radar. Dry conditions as the rest, or the tail end, I should say, of that system has pulled off to the east. It's really because the ground is overly saturated, and we're still watching the river levels as they are likely to overflow within the next couple of hours or so. Taking a look at the rain totals, or the estimated rain over the last couple of days, really the last 2 days, we saw a good amount of rain move throughout the state of Tennessee. You're seeing the deeper and darker shades of orange and maybe even red in some areas, indicating upwards of 5 to 8 inches of rain, localized likely, but this does not help with an already saturated ground. So we saw a lot of rain pulled throughout most of the South with this system, and that did cause the concern for flooding. When we take a look at some of the top totals for Tennessee, Bolivar saw about 7 inches of rain that fell over the last 48 hours. Same goes out towards Centerville. This is since Tuesday, about 7 inches of rain as well. And even as far north as Memphis and Nashville, over 4 inches of rain has fallen in those areas. So again, Tennessee really got soaked with this system. And it is half of the reason why these flood alerts will remain in place for this evening, or throughout this evening, I should say. That lighter shading of green really indicates a flood warning in place, whereas the darker shade is the watch, and it's likely now at this point because of the rivers that have been overflowing or have the likelihood to overflow. Duck River is one of those rivers that did actually crest with that system as it pulled through. This is just around Centerville. So one of the areas that saw the top numbers and totals also saw a river that made major levels when it came to overflowing. We should see this return back to regular flood stages as we head into the weekend, but it isn't for long. It has a very short window of time with dry conditions. And as you can see, up until around Saturday, we remain dry. Saturday evening, we have another round of some very light showers that push through. But again, the grounds are very saturated, so that just simply does not help for the state of Tennessee. Kendall?
You're exactly right, Kiana, and let's show you a live camera of Atlanta.
Trying to get between, let's say, areas between Boston and Providence. So in that north-southward direction, mainly encountering snow, but the further south you get, you're going to see more of a mix of precipitation. This is a look at the travel for the afternoon drive. And noticed if you're coming out of Pittsburgh, if you're traveling through Pennsylvania, which saw a lot of ice this morning, and trying to get in towards Philly, D.C., New York City, a lot of these areas starting to clear out. But you still have some of that precipitation, which is mainly in the form of snow the further north you get. So the roads have been treated. They've done a great job at that, but some of the local roads, secondary, tertiary, could still be a little bad. Now we're heading into the evening rush, and look at what cleared out of the way. All of that precipitation. Now we're talking about the threat of refreezing into the overnight hours. Some of the temperatures in the northeast corridor are actually going to rebound just a little bit, but things will drop overnight. If you are going to be driving along the I-95 corridor here, you know, I got to say, it's not so bad. I was traveling on the Turnpike earlier today, and I was pleasantly surprised with how well it was going. So D.C. 56, Baltimore 51, Philly going up to 50, and New York City 41. Boston still kind of trying to clear out some of that lingering snow, but it should wrap up by about 5 o'clock for everybody. We are still talking about wet and icy roads, so reminder to drive with caution. What does that mean? It means increase that following distance between you, that person in front of you, making sure to drive in a plowed lane. Really important the further north you go. Not using cruise control is critical to maintaining control of your car and then to steer and brake smoothly. You don't want any abrupt motions. That could actually make a situation much worse. Kendall?
All extremely good advice. Well, this
really the best day to get in there. Do you have a boogie board? If you do, you're a lot like me. It's fun, right? Get in there, boogie board some. The waves are crashing down in that area. Record heat in Tampa, Florida. New record 86. This is for Thursday. The old record was just 85, set back in 2001. Baton Rouge 85 is the new record. Columbia, South Carolina. I'm not surprised here. Columbia, if you guys have been there, maybe you're watching from there, is so hot. Oh my gosh, I love to golf there, but it's really, really hot in that area. It's no surprise the new record's 85, set only 2 degrees from 83 in 2018. I bet they break records all the time. And then North Charleston, South Carolina, warm for you guys there right now too. So potential record highs, Gainesville, Florida at 85, along with Jacksonville, Lumberton, North Carolina, 83, New Bern, North Carolina, 83, and Wilmington, North Carolina, around 80. It is very, very warm all the way from the Carolinas down to Georgia and Florida for today, okay? The high temperatures in Charleston, 64, perfect for one of those carriage rides. You want to get out there and enjoy it. Hotlanta, you're at 62, 77 in Jacksonville, 88 in Tampa. Woo, big difference there. And then Miami, you're at 81, 51 in Jackson, and 66 in New Orleans. As we look ahead to Atlanta for your highs Sunday, we're looking at 52. Not much of a change, a little bit cooler, please, 4 degrees cooler. In Tampa, we're looking from Saturday to Sunday at 84, all right? New Orleans, you'll be at 60. And then by Monday, you can see things stay in the 60s, 70s, and 80s across the area. So Fort Myers, Florida, what an area to be in, right? I love Florida. I know you guys probably do too. Maybe you want to go on a vacation. This would be your week to do it. You're going to go from the 80s to the 60s, back to the 80s. You can go catch that tan, go catch some rays. You're going to be mostly sunny to clear. It's just going to be phenomenal. And that's from Friday to Friday night, so like tonight, and then Saturday night, and into Sunday. You cannot beat it. One thing I'll tell you, though, remember the sunscreen. You can get burned like that, and you will down in Fort Myers.
Yeah, Katie, I know
terrible cloud. And while the predator's there going, oh, my eyes, my nose, this is terrible and itchy, I hate it, the tarantula gets to run away. And so that's the main danger with them. That just is, again, it's temporarily uncomfortable, but it's not lethal. I mean, I've been flicked multiple times and I'm still here. So.
Got it.
Okay.
And we're glad. Yeah. All right, Maya and Lady, thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate it. And I now know I do not want to be reincarnated as a male tarantula.
No.
I'm crossing that one off the list.
Nick, are you ready?
I'm ready. Wait. Snakes, they're barefoot and pregnant right now. Here to talk about it are Tiffany Bright and Megan Grams from the Rattlesnake Conservancy in Jacksonville, Florida. Tiffany and Megan, thank you so much for being here. And man, you guys, so wait, do you guys actually like snakes?
Oh, we love them.
Oh my God.
Of course we do. What kind of question is that?
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were there on some sort of work release I wasn't sure, man. I wasn't sure. All right, so let's start off with this. For those that don't know what it is that you do in a Rattlesnake Conservancy, let the masses know.
Sure. So the Rattlesnake Conservancy is a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to advance the protection of rattlesnakes and their habitat through research and education. So as an organization, we have a kind of wide scope towards that aim. Right now, we're in our public facility here in Jacksonville, Florida, where we do a lot of community engagement and education programs. We also fund research grants, do our own research as an organization, and we teach venomous handling training across the country to first responders and other professionals to help mitigate some human-snake conflict.
Okay, so I'm from Southern California. We have a lot of rattlesnakes there. So I have that habit, you know, before I go on a hiking trail or something, to stomp the feet, clap the hands. That's what they tell you to do. So explain to us, why is this a particularly active season for the rattlesnakes?
Sure. So fall is an important season for all wildlife, not just rattlesnakes, but rattlesnakes especially. So up north, where it's going to be a cooler climate, it's kind of their last chance to really get a meal and build up their fat stores so that they can make it through the winter. Here in the south, where we have warmer weather a little bit longer, we're kind of at the tail end of our breeding season, and babies are being born and dispersing. And so you're going to find a lot more movement than usual.
All right, Tiffany, we want to see you handle one of your rattlesnakes. Do you have any standing by or slithering by?
We do. So I'm going to leave it over to Megan, and I'll get a snake for you guys.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, while she's doing that, Megan, this question is for you. Where are you more likely to see a rattlesnake, and what should someone do if they come across one? Besides
that's a great question.
cry.
We get it all the time. I don't know if y'all can hear that rattle.
I hear it.
Right now. It's pretty loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like maracas. So actually, where you see them really depends on the specific rattlesnake as well as where you are in the United States. So if you are in the southeast, we see them in a variety of habitats. That's where from like hardwood forest to sand hills. Really just, again, depends on the species. If you're in the northeast, you're going to see them mostly in hardwood forest. And that's going to be where there's lots of leaf litter. And if you're out west, that could be more in the mountains and the rocky outcrops, anywhere like that. And if you see one, the best thing that you can do is really just give it some space, take some photos, give it some time, and it'll probably move on its way.
Okay, that is a massive rattlesnake. I am terrified. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Does it have a name? Is it going to bite?
Who knows?
Yeah. That's all good questions. So this is Cupcake. She's our eastern diamondback rattlesnake. And she's actually not even as big as she's going to get yet. She's actually just under 4 feet. But when they're full size, they can be about 6 feet in length. She's characterized by those dark diamonds on her back. You can see that nice eye bands on her eyes as well as that nice rattle. She's got those nice tan outlines on her back as well, too. They're actually a really important species. They're really important in their environments to control all kinds of different rodents and all things like that. They also are declining in a lot of areas due to habitat loss, as well as something called rattlesnake roundups, where these communities actually go out and kill these animals as part of like sport.
So is Cupcake a little bit ticked off right now? Is that why we're hearing that rattle going nonstop?
Yeah, so the reason you hear that rattle is actually because she's just kind of scared. We got her out of the box, so she's just kind of like, what's going on? What's happening? Trying to figure it out. Usually if they're just threatened, that's really why you'll hear that.
Okay, so how old is Cupcake? You mentioned she's not full grown.
Right, so we're not actually 100% sure how old she is. Rattlesnakes are really slow-growing species. It takes them a really long time to reach that 6 feet in length. And she is a wild rattlesnake, or she was a wild rattlesnake before she was in captivity, so we're not actually sure how old she is at this point.
And is it true that the younger rattlesnakes are more venomous than the older ones? I've always heard that, but no idea if it's true or not.
Yeah. Not necessarily. They really just have different venom compositions. So when I say that, it just really means different chemicals and venom, not necessarily more toxic or less toxic.
Yo, I hear you guys have another snake to show us. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely we do. We have another one, a canebrake or a timber rattlesnake. Depending on where you're from, you might hear it said a little bit differently. Her name is Sweet Cheeks, so Tiffany's going to get her out now. She's a really cool species, too. They're actually one of the most widely dispersed rattlesnakes. So when I say widely dispersed, I mean you can see them pretty much all over eastern United States. So up north, down south, all over the place.
Who's naming these? Who's naming these snakes? Cupcake, Sweet Cheeks.
Yeah,
I like
a variety of us. Tiffany names a lot of them, though.
Sweet Cheeks, I would assume would be because of the cheeks on her face, right? Snakes don't really have
absolutely.
butt cheeks, do they?
Absolutely. If you see, like, I don't know if you guys can see it in the video, she's got these really big and large cheeks, and that's because of those venom glands that she's got stored right there.
Wow. I mean, she's beautiful from afar. From afar. I don't want to have a run-in with her. I have to ask, have either of you ever been bit by one of them?
No, we haven't. Actually, none of our instructors are taking our handling courses has ever been bit. We have a very hands-off technique that we use, as you can see Tiffany demonstrating here. So we're not even getting close enough to her for her to actually strike and bite us.
All right, Tiffany and Megan, this is my last question. I have to know, when everybody's gone, do you guys dim the lights, put a snake around your neck, and play a little Britney Spears?
That with our venomous species, definitely not, but if we got our boa constrictor in here, maybe.
Okay, sounds good. Well, shoot, I learned a whole bunch about snakes, and
my goodness.
You guys are gangsters. You're just throwing those snakes around like
I'm
it's...
so impressed.
I know, man. Okay, well, there you go. There's one last look at Sweet Cheeks and her sweet cheeks. And with that, Tiffany and Megan, thank you so much for being here, and happy handling. We hope that bite count stays at 0.
Yes, we do. Sweet cheeks and
thank you for having us on.
Thanks for being with us.
All right. Well, my goodness, they are seriously awesome.
I'm very afraid of snakes.
Are you?
Yes.